host, Damon Anthony, and today we are going to prepare a little fall dish. Since it's that time of year, we're going to have a little fall spiced pork loin and some roasted root vegetables. We're going to prepare this meal today in our RH18 Retherm oven. So we're going to get right to it. Got a couple of nice half pork loins here. Just going to set these to the side for now. We'll get back to these in 1 second. So for the first thing we're going to get started on is our roasted root vegetables. And what we have rutabaga, have a butternut squash, got a couple of parsnips, some carrots, some red potatoes, some turnips, and some boiler onions. Really the only thing missing from a classic roasted root vegetable medley here is beets. I'm not going to use beets today. I'm going to skip those today because beets do tend to dye other ingredients as they're placed in with other ingredients. That deep red hue of the beet likes to leach itself on some other vegetables, and I want to keep this really nice and clean looking today, so I'm just going to skip the beets. But probably some people are wondering, where are the beets? But anyway, we're going to get started. So the first thing we're going to do is just going to go ahead and get everything peeled. Rutabaga is just a tuber vegetable. Obviously grows subterranean, grows beneath the ground. Great vegetable. I don't really know a whole lot about rutabagas, but I should look that up. Maybe we could do some points on the bottom of the screen, like, hey, high in fiber, high in lactic acid, or whatever it might be. The sport squash. So that's kind of like it has another name, doesn't it? Badminton? No. Cricket. So just a nice medley of really seasonal vegetables that are going to be in season this time of year in the fall. And so all we're going to do is just toss these with a little bit of garlic oil. This is some roasted garlic oil that I had left over from another recipe. So I just want to give these a nice little coat of this olive oil. My favorite all-purpose seasoner is just a little Cavendish seasoning here. So we'll just give that a quick little toss, make sure everything's nice and coated. So we'll just get these on a lined sheet pan, just a little bit of pan spray. And these guys will be ready for the oven. We'll just set these aside and go ahead and get started on the prep for our pork loin. I've got a couple of nice pork loins here. It's a really lean cut of meat. So I typically don't like to trim any of my top layer of fat. I like to keep that layer of fat to help add some moisture to the final product. So one thing that I do like to do to ensure that that fat renders down and creates a nice crust is just give it a little score in the fat. And all you want to do is just lightly drag the tip of your knife across the fat cap on the pork loin. You don't want to cut through the muscle, you just want to go through the very top layer of fat and just give a little hash mark on there. And that's going to help that fat render, and it's also going to help that fat, when it cooks, have a little more surface area for the air in the oven, and also help that fat create a nice crust on your pork loin as it cooks. So these are just going to be a real simple roast. Again, I'm going to use the same roasted garlic oil. Just going to give these a light coat so that the seasoning sticks. So just give these a quick rub down all the way around on all sides with a little bit of this olive oil. You can do olive oil. I like olive oil for this. It's a nice, subtle, muted flavor. You're not going to pick up a lot of the extra flavor from that, so that the seasoning that you put on will still stand out. Then all I have here is just a little coriander, salt, pepper, granulated garlic, a little Italian herb blend, and a little bit of ginger. So I'm just going to give this a nice coat, all sides of this pork loin. And don't be afraid to heavily season not only your pork loin, but any cut of meat that you may be roasting. Especially if you haven't marinated this, it's going to create a nice flavorful crust on the outside. So we really want to season this nice and heavy on all sides. It's looking pretty good. So these guys are seasoned up really nicely now. These as well, just going to go on a lined sheet pan. Fat side up.
I'm going to go ahead and set up the cook settings for this, for the pork and the roasted vegetables. We're going to cook at 350 degrees. We're going to cook for 60 minutes. We set our hold temperature for 140 degrees. We're going to cook with no moisture. We're going to hold with no moisture. And to help develop the nice crust and caramelization on the pork and the vegetables, we're going to allow this excess steam somewhere to escape during the cook. So we're going to leave the vents open for all cycles of the cook. Okay, we're back at the oven. The time has elapsed for the cook. And as you can see, we've now gone into our hold mode. But we want to go ahead and get these guys out. So, you can see really nice, beautiful roasted root vegetables. A couple of beautiful pork loins. And we'll get these back in the kitchen and plate them up.
So first thing I'm going to do is I want these pork loins to just kind of hang out and rest for a few minutes. So I'm just going to take a little piece of aluminum foil, cover these guys ever so slightly, and we'll just throw these back on the rack to just rest for about 10 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get the final prep on our roasted root vegetables. So I like to finish these with just a little fresh herb. I've got some rosemary and thyme chopped here very finely. And a sprinkle of chopped herbs. And just a touch of that garlic oil. And just a little bit of melted butter. Okay, maybe a lot of melted butter. Welcome back.